Yo, what is going on? Today's video is about showcasing Aizen, Kenpachi, and Kiskae. Now, the reason why it's these three is because these are the three units that I've gotten so far after the update. I do have Uryu too, but there's other units I want to get before I showcase them. So these are the first three that I'll be showcasing. I'm doing this in a boss rush to have it be traitless with minimum of Z+ stats. Alright, without further ado, let's get ahead into the first showcase. First off, we have Eizan. He costs 3000 to place and has a placement of 3. On placement, he has a full AoE attack with his damage being 4.8k. At upgrade 4, he unlocks Darbo number 90. This is a medium AoE and his damage is 8.7k. At upgrade 7, he unlocks Reishi Assault. This is a 120 degree cone and his damage is 15.4k. At upgrade 11, he unlocks Darbo 99. This is a full AoE and his damage is 38.6k. At max upgrade, he unlocks his active ability, Darbo 81, and his damage is 43.5k with a DPS of 3.5k. Onto his passives. His first passive is Aura. This gives him immunity to all status ailments and creates an area around the unit that is displayed with the white fog around them. This area makes the enemies take damage every second based on how close they are to Aizen. This scales from 1% to 80%. For example, if an enemy was on the outer edge of Aizen's aura, the enemy would take 1% of Aizen's displayed damage. If the enemy was practically touching Aizen, they would instead be taking 80% of Aizen's displayed damage. One note to mention about Aizen's aura range, a tip you can use is Aizen's placement range is roughly the size of Aizen's aura at max upgrade if the placed Aizen has no range buffs. His second passive is Complete Hypnosis. Anytime a livestock is removed, all enemies on the track are forced to walk backwards for 5 seconds. In addition, for every missing livestock you have, gain a 5% SPA buff up to a max of 10%. His third passive is Darbo Mastery. This is unlocked at max upgrade and he gains his active ability Darbo 81. This ability creates a wall that can be placed anywhere on the track and stops all enemies from passing through it. This lasts for 15 seconds with a global cooldown of 120 seconds. In addition to gaining an active ability, for every enemy that is stopped by this wall during its duration, gain an additional 2% damage to enemies that are hit by the passive aura. As an example, if one enemy were to be stopped by the wall, this would increase the damage anywhere on the aura by 2%, making the edge now do 3% damage and the center now doing 82% damage. Now instead, if it was 50 enemies that were stopped by the wall, this would increase the damage anywhere on the aura by 100%, making the edge of the aura now do 101% damage and the center now doing 180% damage. This is the showcase for Aizen. I think he's a pretty good unit. He can really have a huge scaling. I really recommend going for him. He is great to pick up. Now let's move on to the next unit. The next unit we have is Kempachi. He is 1500 to place with a max placement limit of 3. On placement, he has a 40 degree cone and his damage is 8.6k. At upgrade 4, he unlocks Feral Strike. This is a medium AoE and his damage is 21.5k. At upgrade 8, he unlocks Feral Slam. This is a 80 degree cone and his damage is 37.2k. At max upgrade, he has 43k damage and has a DPS of 6.8k. Onto his passives. His first passive is Too Much Power. He gains 50% damage. In addition, every 3 attacks he will stun himself. This stun duration is the same cooldown as his SPA. His second passive is Feral Rage. This is unlocked at upgrade 8. Whenever this unit gets stunned, he will do a full AoE attack for 80% of his displayed damage. In addition, every enemy that was hit by this attack will be slowed for 30% for 8 seconds. Now that was Kenpachi. He is a lot simpler than Aizen. I think he is a pretty fun unit to play around with. I'm unsure of how good he is, but I am enjoying using him a lot. Now onto the last unit. Now the last unit is Kiskae. He costs 1900 to place with a max placement limit of 3. On placement, he has a small AoE and his damage is 3.7k. At upgrade 4, he unlocks Bano Hama. This is a 80 degree cone and his damage is 6.3k. At upgrade 7, he unlocks Stitch's Slash. This is a thick line and his damage is 12.1k. At upgrade 11, he unlocks Darbo 91. This is a medium AoE and his damage is 22k with a DPS of 3.8k. His first passive is The Scientist. His attacks inflict bleed equal to 25% of this unit's damage. Whenever Kiskae applies bleed to an enemy for the first time, that enemy also gets stunned. His second passive is The Inventor. This is unlocked at upgrade 4. Anytime a bleeding enemy is damaged with within the unit's range, they are inflicted with wounded. The wounded effect make enemies take 20% more damage from all sources of damage. Now that was the showcase for Kiskae. I have not used Kiskae at all really, but he does look like a very good substitute for Alucard if you have not gotten him yet, because he has the same passive as Alucard. I recommend picking him up because he is a nature unit. There are not many good yet nature units. Definitely Kiskae won't replace Alucard, and Alucard does not make Kiskae irrelevant. They will both have their places as a wound support. This is the first batch of units that I have showcased. I have 9 more to go from this update. I'll be sure to post them when I can. Appreciate it if you've made it this far through the video. See ya.